I'm Deev.
I'm Sunny.
And I'm Niki.
And
this is Cha Time.
What are you
I
on
still
sync
love
again?
that,
Like we
bro.
still hitting it
I
on
still
sync.
love
No
it.
joke. Bro's like, okay, I had a topic to talk about that I've been thinking about ever since we went to Sam's
Okay.
the other day.
Uh-huh.
Because when we were walking through the aisle, I don't know, it was like a book aisle or something.
Mhm.
And I saw this mathematics book and I opened it and it was like good math or something. And it just brought back like memories of the past.
Actually, yes.
And I literally was sitting there with like PTSD of my childhood, and I was like, "What the? Oh my god!" Because I remember sitting there at night with my mom over me, telling me to do this work on a summer. Like if it was during school, I would understand, but this was literally in the middle of the summer.
There was this whole summer that I spent in Canada when I was in like 5th grade or maybe even younger. And I spent the whole summer there. And that whole summer, every day, they assigned me pages in the math book that I had to go sit in the office by myself and do, and had to date every day. I had to do at least 5 pages. And my mom wasn't even there. It was just my
I
Masi.
look back at the books nowadays, and I'm like, "Yo, I could have done 5 pages in like a matter of 10 minutes."
That would be
but,
fun.
Like,
but
back
like
in the day, those 5 pages were the hardest thing on the. It was like taking the SAT every day.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it felt.
they weren't
like.
even hard. It was just multiplication. But
Yeah.
like it was
At
just
that
the fact that
time.
I had to do it every day during the summer.
For me, it was more of like English and reading. Back in Cali, I'd be stuck after school for like a solid hour, like doing remediation
Yeah.
almost. I mean,
Aw.
it worked out though. I'm pretty good
No,
at
I'm not
writing
gonna lie.
papers
Like
now.
in my young days, I had to go to remedial classes because I was slow in reading and writing.
Same, bro.
I was a whiz at math, but like reading and writing, even to this day, I can't spell correctly. Like you see the way I text, them shits don't make sense.
Honestly, my problem is opposite because I was a gifted child in elementary
Oh,
school,
we
and
got smart ones.
no. This is the problem. I was gifted in elementary school and middle school, and I was in like math Olympiads, and I did all this beta club and everything. And they told me I was smart, and then I grew up to be average.
See, that's
Were
why
you-
I don't trust the system.
I don't trust the system.
Was it because they told you were smart when you were younger? You were too afraid to achieve more in life?
No, it was
'Cause
more
you
like.
were like that's gonna be taken away from me.
No, it was more like I'm gifted and everything comes to me naturally. Like I never had to study for anything. And then when I actually had to study, it was like I
You
don't
didn't know
know.
how to
I don't
study.
even know how.
It's
Like,
like,
you
it's
don't-
like
you don't know
everything
where to
she
begin.
believed in herself, like, oh, I'm
Crashed.
smart. It fell down.
Dude,
Dead.
one thing I've learned is when
Same
you
with my
learn about
brother.
study habits for yourself,
Hardcore.
you got to learn study habits before you can learn anything else. Because if you don't know how to study, you'll never study.
Oh, my study habits are still booty.
Oh, I got better study habits. Thank
No.
God.
No.
Or my parents would have still sat
I'm
there and watched me study every
I
day.
might have to start studying this week though. I got like a couple exams coming up next week.
You better get to it.
Yeah.
My parents didn't even they tried to be helpful, but I would always like study, quote unquote, in my room or something, and then I wouldn't be studying. I would just be staring at the pages or doing something else or playing by myself. And then then they would be like, "Oh, how's it going?" In elementary school, you have to sign. Your parents have to sign off sometimes. Like, "Oh, they did this homework." My parents just signed that off. And then every once in a while, they'll be like, "Oh, did you do it? Show me." And I'll be like, trust me."
You know, I was like, since we're already talking about childhoods as it's starting, I want to keep talking about it because it's like I've had so many experiences with my parents, especially being brown and
Right.
having brown parents. It's just a completely different expectation of things because they ask you to do a little bit of ridiculous stuff that when you ask your friends, they're like, "No, we don't do that. Like, what are you talking about?" And then they're like, "What the crap?"
I remember in 3rd grade, they were trying to teach us cursive.
Yeah.
But I already knew cursive by then. I've been doing those cursive workbooks at home for years.
Oh yeah, I remember those books. I remember like my mom and dad made me. My mom was more in the force of studying.
Same.
My dad was just always like, "You do whatever you want, son. I don't care."
Oh.
But it's like I remember my mom made me read a book every day or so, like read 10 to 15 pages of a book, and I was so stubborn. I didn't read anything for all of until high school. From 5th grade to high school, I didn't read shit. Nothing.
You just didn't read?
I just I read stuff, but I didn't sit down and read like novels and books and things
Oh.
like that at all. I just ignored it completely.
What? It wasn't required in like elementary.
Oh,
to,
I
like,
just
read?
Spartan notes that shit.
You knew
I
what
didn't
Spark
even know
Notes
what that
was?
Yes.
back then.
Yo, then that thing was clutch even back in the day.
I didn't know how to
Wow.
finesse the system, bro. I actually really enjoyed reading. Like my mom would come up at like 11 p.m. or something, and I would still be reading with my light on, and I'd hear her come, and I'd be so scared. My heart would be beating my book. I'm like, oh God, she already knows. I can't even run. I can't even turn the light off quickly. She'll open the door. She'll be like, are you crazy? I'm like sitting there crying if it's a sad book, and she's like, go to sleep.
That was never me. I was the
Never
kid
me.
that cut open the book and put an iPod in there just to make it look like I was reading for the day. That was me.
I don't even know how to imagine actually taking the time to take a nice book and ruining it and cutting it out.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't help it. Like I just didn't want to read that much.
That's my brother was with math. He was in like a remediation for math. You know
Yeah.
what Kumon is?
Yeah,
Oh
Kumon.
my
He was
God.
in Kumon.
Oh, I
And,
was into Kumon
bro,
too, bro.
I was in
I
it
don't
too.
think that's remediation though. It's just extra. Or
Well, I
if
mean,
you fail,
it was-
their
it was
curriculum,
extra.
then it
was-
turns into remediation.
It was extra stuff for him. But this boy, he did not want to do the fucking work, so he'd just write down the answers from like the cheat sheets that they give you.
Oh yeah, they
He
do.
He just write that shit down and then just turn it in. And be like, I'm done. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Recently, my baby sister has been doing Kumon for like the longest time. She's been catching an attitude with mom. She's like, "We ain't doing this no more.
Oof.
You
That's how
ain't
I was.
paying for this no more."
That's how
But
it
I remember like my mom used to give me the answer booklet because I had to grade her Kumon, and I'd put it somewhere secretive. The next morning, that thing ain't there no more, and I'm like, "Where'd it go?" I'm like, "Gino, where'd it go?" And she'd be like,
I don't know. She's
I
one of
don't
those girls that
know.
would just be like, you can't make me
"You
talk.
can't make me talk."
You can't admit, you can't prove anything.
But then when you put a candy bar in front of her, everything comes
Oh,
out.
gosh. How old were you when you said you did Kumon? too?
No.
I did Kumon for about a year and a half, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because I did it, and then my mom, I would refuse to do it. I refused to continue, like my baby sister did, and then we just stopped it. And
My mom put me in that shit in freaking 9th grade, bro. I was like, why right now of all
I
times?
know, like,
Like, why right now? What am I gonna do?
what's the cutoff?
I'm
age?
going through it already.
I'm in there with like kids like a quarter of my height. I'm like, Mom, I look like a
Tall,
fool.
bulky as adult.
No, I never had to do Kumon or anything, but you know that Sylvan learning that used to be like
I
a big
wanted to
thing?
do Sylvan.
Literally, me and my sister, my mom, my sister, and I went to Sylvan Learning for like a consultation test kind of thing. So neither of us had issues. So we went in there, and they were like, "Oh, if you like join us, we have this point system. You can get all these prizes if you guys sign up with us.
Kumon
If
has
you
that
do
too.
well, right?" And they had like lit
Oh, wow,
prizes.
isn't it?
Oh, they have it now. I saw it recently.
Well, anyway, and so so we took the test thing, and it was super easy, and so we passed, and they gave us candy and stuff, and my mom was like, "There's no way I'm paying for this if you're not gonna get anything out of it." And I was like, "But the prizes, I could get them, Mom." She said no, and then we left. It was actually in
Yeah.
Augusta too,
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. Yeah.
and we would come from Aiken, and she was like, "It's not worth it."
Oh damn. Yeah, that doesn't sound worth it.
No,
But imagine the power.
I remember like younger, like toward like I think fifth, like age 5 to like 7 or 8. There was like this little ad that ran on TV, and it was like mouse gaming or something like that.
Oh,
Like, I think you guys know what I'm talking about, the little mouse.
ABC mouse.
Yeah.
ABC Mouse.
Yeah.
That's what it was. ABC Mouse. And
Yeah.
I was like, why can't my parents sign me up for something like this?
Yeah, dude.
Like this is something I'd want. Not a tutor come over to my
Like
house
something
and teach me a
stimulating,
yelling.
like mentally stimulating. Yeah.
Ooh, what was
Yeah.
it that the language one,
I never heard about no language one.
the one, Rosetta, Stone?
Oh, but
Yes.
That's like for like older people.
No,
though,
I
where,
know,
like-
but I was like, man, if my parents had got me learning all these languages when I was younger, I'd be so cool now.
would you though? Would you, or would you just feel cooler?
I would feel cooler because I could talk to people when I go to countries, and they
Or
would be like, "Wow."
You could hear them talking shit about you too. Like,
exactly.
Next thing you know, you just probably like, I know the language too, bitch.
Yeah, dude. In school when we were younger was just a whole nother thing, and now like it low key was just fun and easy, and you just blew through it, and now it's like also kind of easy at times, but it's just never fun.
I remember every time
Yeah, you're
after
not wrong.
school, my grandparents would come pick me up, and literally I'd get out for like 2:30, and basically I'd be home by 3. So from 3 till around 6 o'clock, I'd be outside playing with my friends. So my
True.
parents come home because I don't know what the fuck to do till they
Yeah.
come home.
You're lucky, man.
And then after
Go ahead.
my dad gets home, we'd be doing homework for like an hour.
Oh no.
And I'd be going to sleep. But there'd be those nights where I could not figure out what the fuck the answers were. And he'd be yelling at me like, "What's the answer?" I'd be like,
I
22.
remember those nights.
22. I don't know.
And it'd be like some of the dumbest questions. Like you say you're doing, I sucked at spelling, and there'd be like spell the word, and then I'd spell it, and then they'd spell it to me again since I got it wrong, and then they'd be like, spell it again, and you couldn't spell it, and then they'd be like, spell it again, and then you're trying to spell it, but then their voice gets louder and louder. Next thing you know, you're
crying.
frustrated. You start crying. You have a mental breakdown.
And then they're
panic
mad
attack and everything
because you're crying. They get more mad, and they're like, learn. And the thing is, they don't even know what they're trying to teach you. They don't know the math. They don't know the rules for English. They don't know what the spelling is, but they're looking at it, so they feel like they know it, but they don't. And then they're getting more mad because you don't know it. It just
doesn't end well at all.
No.
I've encountered, and it's like you look back at those times, you're like, dude, that was so simple. Why didn't I? Because I have those run-ins with my baby sister too. Because like I'm teaching her something, and I'm like, why don't you get it? And then she's like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yes, it does. I just did all the work for you. And she's like, no, it doesn't. And then I was like, I see how my parents got frustrated with me when I was like 22, and then they just didn't agree.
I remember a specific time. I think this was like the first time I can remember I ever got tested for spelling in kindergarten. Okay, and I mean I practiced the shit with my dad. I was right. I was doing everything right, but the word cannot. Okay, I never asked my dad this question, but I asked my teacher during the quiz. I'm like, is it possible to make it like a shortcut and spell it with one N instead of two? I knew it was with two.
Oh,
but
contraction.
I wanted to see if I could just like shorten it, you know? And she said, just do whatever you think. And I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna be smart and put one. Got that shit wrong. Next day, my dad's like, what the fuck is this? You know how cannot? There's two ends, bro. I'm like, my teacher told me. I'm like, no, she didn't. You're taking the quiz. I'm like, bro.
Dude, I remember
she tricked me.
I remember I used to pin a lot of the blame on certain classes or certain grades I got on the teacher. Like, if like I come home with a B or something, that was bad for us. All right, as kids, that was bad.
My parents got used to those.
It was like I came home with a B, and then they saw the grade and they saw like what I got wrong. I was like, no, the teacher told me to do it that way. She told me in class exactly how to do it that way. It's like, why'd she mark it wrong? I don't know. Like, you just lose all rhyme or reasoning as soon as they ask you, why'd you get it wrong?
Deny.
Yeah, no, my thing with that was like if I was expecting to get a test back or like put it on the computer, they would put the grades on the computer or something, and my mom would be like, why can't I see it? Or my mom didn't always check mine for me.
Infinite Campus.
Yes.
Oh no, we did.
Oh, my parents, I ain't telling about that shit.
We did Power School, right? So my mom would
let similar. To
yeah, my mom. She would just let me log in and check it myself.
About that, sorry.
She would let me log in and check it myself, and so then I would just look at it, and then she'd be like, "So, do you have any like report cards to give me or anything?" And I'm like, "No, they haven't printed them yet. They just didn't give it to us yet." And eventually, she'll stop asking, and I'm like, hiding the paper like in my book bag. I'm like, "I don't have it. They didn't give it to me."
I made sure my parents never signed on to that stuff.
No,
I didn't know the shit for that. I didn't know.
I could not. My mom would be the first one in school being like, what's the Infinite Campus password and code? I need my parent login.
No.
And then like she used to do this. It's literally like a roulette wheel with my mother when it comes to Infinite Campus. She's like, one day I'll check, one day I won't. I won't check for a good week. Wait a minute, I just checked. Wow. And I'm like, what the crap? And then I remember used to telling her like, oh, we took these tests, but the teacher hasn't put in the grade yet. That's why my grade's still so low. Like, that's why it's still like a 54 right now. Like, the teacher didn't put in any grades right now. Or like homework assignments or quizzes. It's like, that was a pop quiz. I just didn't expect it. And it's come up with so many excuses for Infinite Campus. Yeah. But that used to be the ass whooping center right
no.
there. Infinite Campus.
Like, I was so proud for like the first half of my life. I was like, yes, honor roll. Like, look at my papers. And then at some point she realized I was not doing that anymore. And she was like, what's going on? I said, I didn't get it.
I'm not gifted no more.
Yeah, I think she knows that now, but she's still expecting a lot from me, so we'll see how it goes.
You'll meet those expectations.
It's a struggle, dude.
They say parents want that doctorate 4 years time.
Yeah, 4 years. Literally 4 years exact on time. We want you out of college and into med school, engineering, or
everything has to be on time.
Yeah,
everything has to be on time.
No, you're not wrong.
Oof.
Everything in a brown household. Not trying to be mean to like brown people or anything, but it's like it's always scheduled. 20s, you start your college degree. When you get a job near 20 to 25, you need to start looking for a man. 26, you get engaged. 27, married, and that's the time frame. Everything has to be done. If you're like a year younger or a year older than that, they don't look at you the same way. They don't even want to be like, nah, you did us dirty. You didn't even do us right.
Facts.
Like, it's just so weird how it works like that.
Like, I'm in my 5th year of college now, technically, and only reason my parents were okay with it when I finally told them I was gonna be in college longer is because like I wasn't even sad about it, but I was sad that like I was gonna make them sad or make them worry and stuff. So while telling my dad, I was all calm and all cool and collected, and then I started tearing up even though I wasn't sad. And my mom was like, "Don't fucking cry. Don't cry. Don't cry," because my dad hates it when we cry. He thinks it's like a power move trying to control him. And I'm like, no, I just have feelings that I can't control.
I gotta let out.
You gotta try it out.
But he wasn't mad. He was just like, okay, don't waste your time. Just make sure it's worth it. And I'm like, oh God.
Dude, no, that feeling of guilt is like very prominent in anything. Cause since you said it, it's like giving me flashbacks of like back in the day. And it's like anytime I got injured, I'd be like,
oh no.
it's like I got hurt. It'd be like I wouldn't care. But it's like if I showed my mom, she'd be like, oh, "You ruined your perfect skin." Like
That's what
like,
That's what your mom was.
no, mom.
or like like your skin's messed up now. No one's gonna marry you because of that.
Oh,
Like things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Okay.
and I think about it, and I'm like, you shouldn't care if I don't care, right? Like,
Yeah,
isn't that how it works?
That's how my parents used to be. But I mean, I'm in my 6th year of college right now. I think.
I think.
I'm pretty sure it's 6.
I think. I do
Six.
not know.
I think that I started my 6th year of college right now, and I mean I think once you mess up past a certain point, and your parents they eventually get over it.
They expect it
Plus,
from you.
They see how much it's like affected me in the past, and they're like, all right, we gotta switch up how we're doing things a little bit. At least with me personally.
I know my parents.
Yeah.
The only thing is, the only thing is they've eased up. Like they've slowed the gas pedal down. They've,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
let
for
me
sure.
Do what I want, and it's like
Got you on that eco mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
eco boost mode, basically just cruising.
At some point, my parents went from like whenever people would ask me, I'd be like, oh yeah, they're strict. Now, at some point, I'm just like, no, they don't care what I do. They're fine with anything. And it's like, when? I don't even know when that happened.
It just kind of like there was just one day where it's just like the switch just flipped, and next thing you know, they're not on your butts anymore, and they're the last one to ask if you're okay or something, and then it's like it's weird. It's
Yeah.
this weird phase where it's like, are me and my parents okay? Like, are we good? Like, are we friends? You don't hate me, right? Like,
Speaking of a recent example, since my dad knows I have a boyfriend now. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, no. So I told him, and he was superly weirdly calm, and he didn't freak out, and he didn't get mad at all. He was a little stressed, but he didn't like get
Wow.
mad, and he was just like, okay, that's good. And then he went to bed stressed. But then the next day, he was all happy and calm and talking to me, and it freaked me out and made me worry that the other shoe was gonna fall, and I was just waiting to get my ass beat, but it didn't happen. So
dude, we've all grown up with siblings, right? And it's like whenever one sibling gets in trouble, you have to be on your best behavior for the next 24 hours
or disappear.
Not even, you can't even disappear. They'll be like, why do you go hiding? Or why should you go hiding? They go hunting for you after that.
Did
just to get you in
y'all's
trouble.
parents, like, if one of y'all fucked up, the lecture would be applied to
Both
both
of
of y'all?
you.
It's like, what the fuck did I do? Why are you getting mad? Why are you coming at me for my brother's fuck up?
He's getting mad right now, like actually.
He gets heated every podcast. He's just
I
like
know,
he's
he's
just like
always-
ready to
It's
go.
so much, it's just.
And the
Bro.
thing is, I would point it out every time. My sister would do something, and I'm just sitting there eating or something. She's getting yelled at, and then she'd be like, "Dame look, I like both of you do this and that." And I stop eating. I look at her. I'm like, "What?"
I didn't do nothing wrong.
I didn't do it. And she's like, I'm just talking about like everything in general.
Dude, I remember like have
In
you
general.
ever heard a recycled lecture?
Yes. Oh
Dude,
my God.
so many times. My dad used to give the same speeches, no matter the mess up. Like if I lost a soccer game, I'd get the same speech because I'd be sad. I'd be very sad, and they'd be like, "Don't be sad. It's okay. Everything works out." And then it just keeps going in that way. My dad was a very
Oh, okay.
moving forward thinking type person.
Oh, same with my dad. My mom, though, she hits me with the same shit every time.
The mom guilt is never ending.
Yo, that guilt don't end. It's an undrying well. Like it just keeps going.
Yeah,
So
no.
same words.
It's
What are
just-
people gonna think?
Oh yeah.
Lo que akenga.
Yes,
Hassan
exactly.
Minaj put that on the map, and it's
Yep.
like it hit hearts with everybody.
Yeah.
Every brown person
Every brown
knows.
person resonated with that.
Cause it's like bruh, it's my life. Let me live it. Your opinion doesn't affect me, but a lot of people think like that. Parents,
Yeah.
especially.
It's funny because like as you're getting older, or like when you're younger, they're like, okay, don't hang out with this person. Like, what would they think? Like, everyone knows that they're a bad person. Like, don't hang out with them. Like, what would people think? But now, like, as I've gotten older, it's become me telling my parents to not think about what other people are thinking. Like, for example, my mom will be like, oh, but I can't wear that. What will people think? And I'm like, okay, do what you want. And she's like,
Why
yeah,
can't-
I should wear it. And I'm like, yes, girl, live your life. But also, they need to get over it.
No, I feel like part of that mentality is when they did move over here, all they had was either family or friends. And their opinions matter the most because if you didn't have either one of those, you're by yourself.
Yeah.
It's just you, your wife, and maybe your 2 kids if you have them. So it's like that's why that opinion matters most. To us, is like we don't care if we're by ourselves. I may have friends, I may have family. Who cares? At the end of the day, as long as I can do me, I'm okay. I'm pretty happy with that. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just difference in perspectives. I feel like that's what it is, and that's like feel like a lot of our miscommunication between our parents and us are.
There's like a big generational gap in between how our parents think versus how we think nowadays. Because like even like all that aside, it's like my parents want me to always be like busting my ass, working, grinding, and this and that for like just for the money, just for the money. I'm like, Mom, like even like today's generation, we don't really focus on the money as much as we focus on just wanting to like experience or just like a peaceful life in general. We're not trying to like hustle and bustle like how our parents are.
And their
for like
and
for
their
like
way
their
of
career.
viewing it is
Yeah.
the same way as they're telling you. Like what we want and what they want are the same way, but as we see it in 2 different ways of how to
Yeah.
get it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like they were told that the American dream is work, and then at 65 retire, and then make sure your kids are working and you're set. And like, but we're over here like work at a moderate amount and also get to travel and live your life
Yeah,
at the
live
same
your life
time.
without killing yourself.
We don't
Yeah.
enjoy everything else.
Yeah.
Experiences. We
It's
want
the multiple
experiences.
incomes that we're just like, we're gonna be okay. But our parents have the multiple incomes, and then they're also trying to work every day and like.
You're right. We do have that safety net of parents. So it's like if we want to take a risk, they still got our backs no matter anything.
Yeah.
But if they ever wanted to take a risk, they never could because they had to
Yeah.
take care of one or another kid or
Right.
their husband or wife. And that's
Exactly.
that's the whole different like process. Like for us, me and you or you can go out and do anything we want by ourselves. We don't have no one counting on us besides us. So if you're not feeding yourself, it's not you deal with it. If you can't go to the doctor, you deal with it. But if it's
Right.
like if your kid can't go to the doctor, that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
True.
Because that's another life you're protecting or working for. If you know what I'm saying.
Right. They grew up stressed. Plus they got married by the time we were still right. My mom got married next year for you.
24?
24.
What?
My
She
dad
got married at 24 and had my sister at 25.
My dad got married at 21, bro. My mom was
My,
22.
I think my dad was around 22, 23 when he got married. And, well, I can't say that. My dad's 10 years apart. He was probably in his 30s. My mom was in her 20s. Because she had me, like, early 20s.
Okay.
That's why, yeah. But it's like my dad's, like, literally 10 years older than her. So, like, my dad's at a different stage in life that my mom is at. And it's funny to see, like, how they react and stuff. to
You know,
each
I've never
other.
really actually met like a Daisy kid whose mom is older than their dad.
No, my dad's older than my mom.
No, I'm talking for me.
Oh, for you? Oh,
Yeah, my mom's
I
older
thought you
than
were
my
talking
dad.
about me.
Yeah, no. Because even your dad's like
6 years
6 years,
older,
like,
yeah.
How
like
old
5
is your
plus.
mom?
My mom is 50.
You gonna expose her like that right now? You're gonna expose her right now? I'm just
50
kidding.
50
Just
some.
say the age gap.
50
so.
some, and my
Age gap
dad
between them.
is maybe like 9 months younger.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
it's like months. Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
like
it's
by
not
years
like
or
it's not
something.
like that, but like still, usually you don't see that.
No, my dad, he's 6 years older, yes, but he also was married once before my mother.
Exposed.
Yes.
What?
And guess what?
Your dad's
She's
a traveling
irrelevant.
merchant?
She was just kind of there for being there, but also they weren't married very long, and so like a year or two later, like he met my mom and like they got married and stuff like that. But when I finally found that out, like when I was younger, I was like, what? And then my sister would just like randomly say her name sometimes. I think it was Nana. Yeah.
Ooh.
And so now every once in a while, and my mom doesn't care. She'll just look at him and laugh.
better watch out,
And we're just
Nana.
like, we're going to go to our other mom. Even
Yo,
though we
that's
weren't
gotta
born
hurt.
Did you
yet.
say that first?
That's
Somebody invent that? Did she
Oh,
start
of
that?
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to my sister for starting everything.
dude,
Yep.
that's gotta hurt. Like being the
Yeah.
mom, like we're gonna go to our other mom. Like, Ooh.
No. We
Like
would say that.
oh.
No. We wouldn't say it to our mom.
Oh,
My
I
mom's
thought y'all said it to the
innocent and
mom.
Oh,
she's
that's what I
fine.
thought. I was
No,
like, damn.
we would
Even
look
as
at
a
our
joke,
dad.
I was like,
Like he would, you know how dads joke. We're like, oh, they're like, oh, maybe like I'll get you another mom. Like if you don't like this one, like we'll
My
get
dad
another.
never said that.
Oh,
My
like
dad
my
never
dad
said
says
that.
that sometimes.
Never
Not
said
like,
that.
My dad is so in love with my mom. It's not even funny.
no,
Like,
no. It's more like if I was to go up to my dad and be like, mom's being like this, like she won't let me do this. He's like, fine, I'll get you another one. If you don't like this one, then I'm like, no, but I love my mom, you know? So for him, we would be like, okay, well, fine. We're going to go to our other mom if you're not going to listen to us. It's just
I take that back. I just remembered. My dad used to say, "Let's go return her and bring another
exactly
one." Like,
return her. I'll go return her.
I'll go return her. He's like, he just said it like it's a piece of property. Like,
Exactly.
let's just return it. Like, what?
They did that.
my dad actually got a letter from one of his exes, like on my
What?
my
What?
my on my parents like
So your dad was a hoe?
wedding day. My dad was a player, bro. No cap.
Your dad was a
No
hoe?
cap.
And that's where you come from. It runs in your freaking blood, ho.
You know, you just said you.
Moving
That
on.
is your boyfriend, and now you. Just,
Not for long.
Oh damn! Oh damn! Watch
We're
out
moving-
on
we're
them
moving up
social
in the
media.
You
world.
guys watch out for
We're
him.
moving up in the world.
Oh, watch out for him, not her.
I don't know what's happening. You continue your story.
He's
No,
supporting his holiness.
that's it. That's it. Yeah, he got a letter from his ex.
Wait. So was he like hoey in India or here?
India.
What?
India?
He would never have
Wait.
a girlfriend.
Okay,
actually.
I don't know.
I got questions. Hold on.
Questions. Speak.
You said he got a letter from his ex and that's it? You're not going to say why or what it entailed or if she was like, I love you still. Your son is here. Like, she didn't have anything to say.
I mean, I don't know all that. All I know is, like I said, my dad never, like, explicitly was like, all right, you're my girlfriend, this and that. He was
Well,
never about.
obviously.
He was never about the label.
He was
Wasn't
just
about the
running
labels.
around.
Yeah. So then, the
Yo, he
letter
was a-
basically was talking about. I guess it's like he didn't tell her that he's getting married or something.
He's like, oh, by the way.
So then when
I'm
she
married.
found out, she was like, okay.
Your dad's mind was in 2020 when he was back.
He
in the
was
day.
like,
we
ain't
don't
no.
do labels.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was literally
wasn't about
like,
the label
oh, sorry. By the way, I'm married, so I gotta
Yeah,
go.
'cause I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about his whole life, as Niki wants to call it, or Deev wants to call. Both y'all want to call it.
I call it
all
whole
I know
life.
is he wasn't into the labels. He wouldn't be like dating, and so when it was time to settle down, I met my mom. They got engaged. They got married, and then somewhere in between there was a letter of. What the fuck? What the fuck letter?
Well, speaking of our parents, you know how we've grown up and like, you know, parents fight and stuff. So sometimes they're like complaining to us about it and stuff. So my mom one time, I think we've already talked about this, but like my mom, I vaguely remember it. I was telling my friends earlier that I remember the exact outfit she was wearing because it was traumatizing as hell. But I remember her walking out of the garage and I was standing there saying, Mom, because she was leaving. I thought she was like leaving, because her and my dad had fought and she's like, fine, I'm leaving. So I'm over here small as heck thinking she's not coming back. So I'm like, oh my God, Mom. She said, I'm leaving. She got in the van. And she left. And then later she came back and she was like, I went to the store. And I'm still thinking about what outfit she was wearing when she
Did
left.
that like 10 minutes feel like 10 hours?
It wasn't 10 minutes. It was a couple hours. She probably went to the store to work, actually. But at the same time, I was stressed out.
Like, I'm gonna go work. I ain't talking to you. Go to the
Did
store.
you go talk to your dad afterwards?
No, he was scarier at the time. Now he's like calm, and you can just yell at him if you want. But at the time, if you even look at him the wrong way, he's like, goodbye. You're just leave.
I'll return you too.
Exactly.
Yo, speaking of parents arguing though, did y'all ever have to mediate your
Yes.
parents arguing?
Yes.
That
Yes.
shit was so like traumatizing as a kid. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. I want to go and play.
No,
Literally, I don't want to do this.
Not
I
even that.
don't wanna
Even
do
when I
this.
got older, I was like, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Exactly.
Like
Same. And
literally, they were arguing over the
my
dumbest
God,
things.
for real.
And you know, like dads don't show affection. So like even to this day, when he makes my mom mad, me and my sister, if we're both home, we just look at each other and I tell her like I got this because my sister's aggressive, and she'll go up to him and just be like, "What's wrong with you?" And he'll be like, "There's nothing wrong with me." And then it's just a whole nother fight I gotta mediate. So I usually just take him and I'm like, "Listen, Dad, you're wrong." And you gotta apologize. And he'll be like, "Fine, fine." So he'll go up to my mom, look at her and be like, "Okay, Badu, okay." I'm like, that is not it. He'll do like this little pat on the back and be like, "Okay," like pretend, and she'll just literally be looking at him like, "What the fuck?" And then I'm like, I'm just standing there. I'm like, "No, hug," and then you're gonna say,
Okay.
"I'm sorry," and he's like, "Okay, sorry, okay, bas, everything's fine," and she's just like, "Okay."
I'm sorry. I'm gonna start doing that from now on. Okay.
He does not do affection like that, dude. I think I've heard him say "love you" like once in my life. Like I don't.
Dude, my mom and my dad fight over the dumbest thing. So recently, my dad planted trees around the house.
He fucked up.
He planted palm trees around the house, and my mom looked at the price tag and she's like, "I didn't ask for this," and he's like, "You didn't ask for it, but I asked for it." And then literally, it was the argument about that. And I'm like, "Bro,
They're
calm
already
down."
planted.
Yeah, literally, me and my dad were outside planting trees. First of all, I didn't agree to these trees, so why I gotta plant them in there? Like, I don't want to do manly work. Like, I'm not a manly man. I can't do this.
How many palm trees were there though?
About like 4.
Oh, okay.
They were like the little itty bitty bushes.
Oh, he has a nice house though, so it makes
Oh, I haven't
sense.
been there yet.
It's
I
like
live-
a whoosh.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say so, but I live a privileged life, and when you were talking about when your parents come home like 3 to 6, I was gonna say, my mom was just always home because she was a
Oh,
stay-at-home
yeah.
mom. My dad didn't want her to.
My
work.
mom is
okay.
pretty much stay at home, but
Yeah.
she worked at the store a lot too, so it was like
It was
I'm
like
pretty
so-
privileged now. In
So it was
Georgia,
like
but
I was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
privileged to have my
Different
mom
Cali.
home all the time, and it was like that's why I said you're lucky because like you get to play. No, as soon as I got home, work. If you can't get it right, we staying up till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
getting it done.
no,
see, my
even
parents were all about that work. I was just
even if my mom worked or if she was home or whatever, I would still go outside to play because she doesn't want to deal with me inside. Or I'd be playing pretend upstairs. I'd just be like doing my own thing, play PlayStation, doing whatever, or Nintendo. And so I'd go outside to play with the neighbors. And then there was this one day, the best day of my life, honestly. It rained. And I was allowed to go play in the rain. And so it was like pouring. And I got to go outside. And my mom didn't care that my clothes were wet. And she didn't care. Can you imagine?
she's loving this right now.
She was just like,
she's reliving.
I
that
was
moment
literally
right
just
now.
like splashing around outside. I don't give a fuck. I was like, shoes are gone. I'm soaking wet. I could get sick and I don't care. And my mom was like, go for it. And then I never got to do it again. But it was a good day. It was a really good day. It was pretty good. I'm not
tell
gonna
it was a
lie.
good
I'm having a
day.
good time right now. I'm
Sounds
just
like a good
reminiscing.
She's like best day ever again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Just go in the rain, running around.
Does that not sound like a good time?
No, just all the clothes would get sticky and stuff, and it's just. No
You have a
fun.
change of clothes after. You can take a warm shower if you need it. And then you're done. What do you mean? You go outside. You play in the rain.
I'd play in the sprinklers when I was younger. Not when it was like raining like that though.
Okay, you know what?
There was-
I belong in a freaking on. You're one to talk, you freaking animal.
I'm
How
sorry.
did that even make sense coming from him?
I'm sorry. It just
It's just-
felt so perfect, and Zoo was the
The
first thing that I
timing.
thought in
It
my
was just
head.
the
And I just
timing.
had to
I'm
say
actually
it.
surprised you thought of it that quickly. I'm not gonna lie, I'm proud. But don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Okay.
He just wanted to make me mad so he could do that.
Yes, honestly.
You know what? I had a good time, and if you had, I bet the girls are with me. We would have had a lit time playing around outside. Oh, I used to also play on we had a trampoline at one point, and when it
bad history
rained,
with
I always
trampolines.
wanted the trampoline.
I have bad history with trampolines.
and when it rained, I would go on there and go from one side and jump and slide to the other side because we had the screen. So when it was raining, it'd be wet, and I would just like slide across it. It was a good time.
trampoline?
Yeah.
What you mean slide across?
Like I'd be, you know how like if it's a big trampoline,
So you just
it's made
slide
of
back and forth?
yeah, like you know how you like
You
slide
wouldn't
into
jump?
base. No, I did jump,
don't-
but it's when it was raining.
When it's raining,
It'd be
you let it,
slick,
like,
so I would
so she,
slide
like, would
across
slip and
it.
slide on the trampoline.
Oh, yo, those slipping signs back in the day.
Yo,
Those were lit.
they were.
Those
I got my
Life of the
I got
party
my
right
two
there.
stuck. there was not a good experience with one.
Oh, is
You're
that the
too stuck
time?
in one?
No, like so on the slip and slide. So it was when I was younger too, and I think I told this story already.
Where your teeth were in your face.
Yeah, my teeth went in my face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel
you
like I
didn't tell me
told
how
it.
that happened.
Yeah, you
though.
didn't tell us how. You just said it
Oh.
happened.
Oh, I didn't tell you how. Oh, so
No.
what happened was there was a slide and I jumped and then this kid was holding me down at the bottom. This little kid, I don't know, he was like 5 or 6, something like that. I was probably like 7 or 8, so I thought it was like the shit, like the coolest kid in the world. And he grabbed my leg, held me down. I saw someone come, and then next thing you know, he hits me on the top of my head. 2 front teeth go straight into my bottom lip.
They
Ew.
ganged up on your ass.
Yeah, they ganged up
They
on
said
me.
we're gonna jump you. You think
Yeah.
you're cool?
You're
You
getting
think you're
jumped
cool?
today.
Not for long.
They jumped me like a 5-year-old and another 5-year-old, but this other 5-year-old was big. He wasn't no small
No.
5-year-old.
It
He had
was
some weight
Moto-
on him.
Moto.
Yeah.
Big
Moto,
boy.
laddu jo moto.
Oh,
This
shit.
one time I went on a slip and slide. I think it was like the only time I went on a slip and slide really. I was sliding and then I go home and there is a blade of grass about an inch or 2 big in my foot. Not like in, but like flat, like under a layer of my skin or something. And I was like, how did that happen? And that day my mom just sat with my foot in her lap and with a safety pin.
Oh fuck, I hate that shit.
And she
Dug it
got
out?
yeah, she got it out. I thought there was a hole in my foot. Yes. The trauma.
Ooh, that,
But it was pretty interesting because you could see the blade of grass under my skin.
he's still confused. He's like,
Like, how the fuck?
how did he
Okay,
get
so
in?
let's just say like
No, like I understand. I can envision it.
yeah, it was
I
like
don't
right here.
understand.
Oh, actually, it wasn't in my foot. It was in my big toe, right in my big toe, underneath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna nod my
Another
head.
traumatic story, if y'all are interested.
Cool.
So I went swimming at my childhood friend's pool at her business, and so we were in the pool, and it was Ria's pool,
Oh.
and so do you know how like they have like those metal like laying out chairs? Like that they have by the pool. It was an indoor pool, but they still had those. And so we brought it like next to the pool so that we could like slide off of it. And so we would like put like water on it and then like slide off of it. It kind of worked. So at one point I was like in the water in front of it, and she like pushed it in to the water, like the whole metal chair into the water over me, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna drown. I'm gonna die. It took me down, and I was like a strong kid for some reason, so I didn't die.
A little
But
girl strength.
no, I had that strength for real. And so like it came down on me, and then like I like swam out from under it because it was like open kind of, and so then I pulled it out and I looked at her and I was like, I could have died. There was no adult supervision.
I had my first experience with the pool was the worst experience I've ever had in my life because I was in 3 feet. I was perfectly fine. It was great. I got up and I was like, looked at it. I was like, oh, 3 feet and 5 feet look the same. Measurements
Oh, no.
did not add up in my head at that time. So I was like, they look the same. So you know what my dumb kid self did? 5 feet. And I was like, the entire, and then his dad came running like, Olympic dived into that shit and picked me out and dragged me up. But I was so dumb. I was like,
No, I can relate. My dumbass.
You did the same shit?
Yeah, I did the same shit, except it was like it was like probably 8 or 12 feet or some shit. My dumbass was like, it looks the same on the floor, right? I'm like, Dad, I can do this.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, go ahead. And then
I love how your dad didn't say
it
anything.
was
He
at my
just let
mama's
you
house,
go.
okay? And my dad was like, are you sure though? And I'm like, yeah, I think I could do it. I convinced him. So my mama told him not to. He was like, nope, not a good idea. My dad's like, fuck it. He picked me up, threw my ass in that pool, threw me in there. He just goes, straight up flung me in there, like one arm, one leg, just flung me in there.
What?
I was like, okay. As soon as I know my feet touch the ground, I'm like you said,
I can't see.
I was like, and then I got my mama saved me from that. My dad can't swim. He threw me in the pool still.
Oh.
But my mama was there and he could swim. So, he threw
So basically, if your mama was in there and your dad was just there, he was just like, fuck it, he's dead.
Dead, yeah.
Just left you there to
bro,
die.
I was fucking crying. I was hitting my dad. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck, dude?
You killed me. You could literally bring that up in any type you have an argument. You almost killed me. Literally.
I never did
You
that
know,
before.
You never thought to bring up the guilt.
I can bring up the guilt with my grandfather though. I can never bring up guilt with my
Yo.
parents because they didn't do anything. My grandfather ran over me with a car as a baby, around like 2 years old.
True.
When can you start crawling? I don't know. I don't know.
One between 1 and 2, I
Close
think.
to 1.
1 or 2, like
1, 10 months. Okay.
around like 10 months or so, like a little bit over a year almost.
Mm-hmm.
I was crawling behind my grandfather. He didn't realize I was behind him at that moment, and I was just crawling behind him, and he started reversing. Thank God I was right in the middle of that car, because if I was on a tire or one other tire, I would have been dead.
Oh, so you like went under the car?
I was right in the middle, and I think my mom said I flipped or it was on my back or one or the other, but the entire like front side or back side of me was just scraped because it touched like the metal stuff underneath the car, and I was in the ER for about a while. And I remember my dad used to joke about this all the time. He's like, your mom would not stop crying. She would cuss at your grandfather constantly the entire time.
You were her firstborn, dude.
Yeah, and then I was like, yo, if they had the backup cameras back in the day, he would have seen me then.
Bro, and then what if he still did it though?
The way you said it yesterday or the other day made it sound like he